Hello and welcome to another YouTube tutorial. My name is Chris and today we're going to be diving into Adobe Premiere Pro and I'm going to show you how to use multicam. Multicam is an extremely powerful feature inside the program and it allows you to basically select multiple different camera views, allows you to basically set up multiple different cameras for an event, an interview, and inside of the program you can slice and dice and chop and select the different angles that you want your audience to see in the final product. It's very simple, very powerful, and what's cool about it is that it allows you to sync everything together very easily. Now today I'm working in Premiere Pro 2025. If you have version 2024 or earlier, all the features and functions should be exactly the same. The only thing that's changed really is the view and the addition of the properties panel for 2025. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get this started. Now, I just have a brand new project here and nothing crazy. I also have a main timeline or main sequence created, which is represented by this timeline right here. It's important that when you do the multicam, you're going to create another sequence so you can do all your edits. Think of it like a multicam playground, so you can basically do everything that you need to do in that timeline and just bring it over to the main timeline, which might house your A-roll, your B-roll, your photos, your music, etc. Now in my project panel here, I'm going to bring in all my different clips. It's an interview, so I'm just going to double click in the gray area here, which will bring up my file browser. And I recommend you put all of your clips from the different camera angles, and let's say you're shooting a good audio source like an external lavalier. I recommend putting everything into one folder that says multicam. Don't have to name it that, but it just keeps things organized. So if I double click in here, let me show you. I have 1, 2, 3. These are 3 different cameras. They're all recording with the default audio. And then I have a nice clean lavalier for my interviewees here, represented by a separate audio source. So it's all in one. So I'm going to go back out to the parent folder here, and I'm going to click on Import Folder, which will create me a bin with the same name and houses all the clips plus the audio. Now this is a very important step to have both your audio, let's say just a separate WAV or MP3, with the actual video clips themselves, because you're going to need to select everything in order for it to synchronize and do the multicam function, which is essentially just a big nest. So once you have everything loaded up here, you can hit Control and A as an apple, or Command and A as an apple to select everything. And you're going to right click. That's going to bring up your context menu. And the first thing that we're going to select is almost at the bottom, create multi-camera source sequence, which will bring up this panel right here. The first thing that we're going to notice is this drop down right here. If you click on this one, you have a couple of different options. You can name this new nested sequence as the video clip name plus whatever you want to put, the audio clip name plus whatever you want to put. I always recommend doing custom. This way you can put your own name in it so it doesn't get messed up and it's organized. So you can name it like multicam interview. You can just name it interview. Just give it a name and you'll see why this makes sense in a minute. Once we're done there, we're going to just hover down a little bit. And the next thing we have our synchronize point. And there's a couple ways that you can sync with a multicam setup. You can do in points, you can do out points, you can do a specific time code, and you can also do the most powerful feature, especially when recording with an external audio recording device, our audio track channel. So let's select this one all the way at the bottom, last option. And once you click on the drop down here, and we have a few things that we can do our sync with. We can do channel 1, we can do channel 2, or we could do mix down. What mix down allows you to do, essentially allows you to combine multiple audio tracks into one or a few tracks, typically a stereo or mono mix. This is often done to simplify your project for sharing or to ensure it sounds well on different listening devices. When choosing a method for syncing multicam audio, mixdown means analyzing all audio channels with each file to find the sync point, which is useful when audio sync is on different channels for different files. So essentially just think of it as a giant merge, and this way you're going to have a nice sync, and it's going to save you the process of having to manually sync it. So once we got that selected, we're going to go to our options. For sequence preset, you can keep that automatic. Never recommend offsetting your audio because it's going to essentially not be synced. But this is an important one. I want you to have this one checked. Move source clips to process clips bin. And you'll see why this is important in a moment. Let's drop down to audio here. Sequence settings. So if you select this one, I recommend just doing camera 1. And then audio channel presets. This is the one where I say select the stereo. Now you can leave it in automatic mode. Say, you're recording and it's recording in stereo. It's going to detect that, but I like to lock in stereo. All my files are always stereo. And then lastly, we have the camera names. I always recommend selecting enumerate cameras. This will allow you to toggle between 1, 2, and 3, essentially giving camera 1, camera 2, camera 3 a designation of 1, 2, 3. So you can conveniently, quickly select the different angles. You can also use like the track names themselves, the clip names themselves. It's just easier with that. And then you can click on OK. And essentially what Premiere is going to do is going to combine all the different video sources plus the audio and create you one clip, a nested sequence. And even though I'm hovering and scrubbing over it, it only looks like to be one view. There's actually 3 camera views in here, plus the good audio. It's just a big nest. But notice it also created this sub bin here called process clips. If I double click in here, I have all my originals. Essentially, that little check that we did inside of the multicam settings, it basically saves all of your originals so it's non-destructive. So if you need to go back, redo it, etc., they're all right here, organized. I'm going to go back out. The next thing that we have to do is we have to essentially create 2 different channels of audio. If I were to drop this in right here, right now, notice we have our video, V1, and our audio, A1. Now this is fine. However, though, I always recommend if you're using a left channel and a right channel, in this interview, we have a left and a right from our lavalier. Left being the person on the left, right being the person on the right. And I want to make sure that these are both separated and have stereo audio. So I'm going to Control Z that. And I'm going to right click on this nest, essentially. And I'm going to go up to modify. I'm going to modify the audio channels. Now inside this, because again I have the lavalier selected on both the left and the right channel, I'm going to change 1 to 2. 1 to 2 in the little box right here. Make sure this is dropped down to stereo. And then I'm just going to click in the gray. So then I can see my essentially A1 and A2 here. I want to make sure that A1 has both a left and right output sound, and I want to make sure A2 has both a left and right output sound. So I'll have 2 channels, left and right, left and right. That's all that is. Now let's say you're just doing a solo interview with one person and you have an external recording audio device and one lavalier. You don't have to do this step. Essentially, this is just saving a step to create a stereo sound. So let's say I was just shooting one person for an interview. I hook up the lavalier and it's just one source. I can change this back to 1 and I can just do left and right and that will be fine. But in this instance, I'm going to have 2 and left and right. Okay, once we're done with this, just make sure to select the little check down here. It says apply changes to all matching clips and sequences. And then you can click on OK. All right, We're almost there. There's one important crucial step that we got to do. And back to our project panel here, I want you to right click on that nest, and you're going to select, it's right in the middle, new sequence from clip. This is very important, new sequence from clip. When you click on this one, it's going to create a separate sequence. So you can essentially think of this like your playground, your sandbox. So you can select multiple different camera views, you can slice, you can dice, and then you can put that on your main timeline. So in multicam interview, which it created, just the name of it, in its own sequence, I'm just gonna scrub my playhead to the right. Notice I still only have just one camera view. And the reason why is because I have to toggle the multicam view. Now, there's two ways to do this. I'm gonna show you the easiest way. Let me actually close my properties panel so it's a little bigger. So this is our program, this is our output window. I want you to find the plus button on the right there. This is the button editor, gives you a lot of different options here. I want you to go ahead and find the big square, and it's got multiple 4 smaller squares to the left. This is the multicam view, and it allows you to toggle and select different camera angles. So if you click, hold, and drag this to your toolbar, I like to keep it on the left here, that'll add it. Additionally, you can just use the shortcut, which is Shift and 0, but I like having the little button, just makes it easy. Click OK, it's there. Now let's click on it, and a couple of things happen. So in the program monitor, on the right here, this is our output. This is what it's going to look like, say, if we were to export it. On the left here, you're going to see the different camera angles that we shot out. Now they're all synchronized. So that allows us to select camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. Now, I'm not playing anything right now. My playhead's just static, nothing's playing. This little like yellow box basically represents the default camera. So essentially, when you're not selecting any camera and you're just keeping it paused, and this allows you to bring up your main camera. So it's selected number 1, it does this by default as our main camera. If I click on, say, number 2, this will be our main camera. So essentially the yellow is basically our main camera view, or the default camera view. I'm going to keep it at 1. Now the way to select multiple different cameras is you have to play this video and you select the different cameras that you want to switch to. So for instance, I'm going to hit play, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select camera 2. I'm going to select camera 3. And I'm going to go back to selecting camera 1. Maybe I'll go to camera 3. Now I'm going to hit pause. When you hit pause, essentially what it did was break down all the different clips, the different angles, chopped it up for you. So if I go back with my playhead, notice how it changes every time I select a new camera, and it's all represented by slices, just like the razor tool. It's just selecting that specific camera, again, because this green thing right here is just a nest, so it's just switching the different camera angles, but it's all synced, audio-wise. Super cool. I want to actually put this on mute for a second, and I'm going to hit play. Now, when you're doing the multi-camera, and you select a track, you select a video camera, you'll notice that there's a red box around it. That means it's recording that view. So you have that yellow one, which represents your default camera that's going to come up. But then once you click on a camera and select that angle, that view, that's going to give you a red box. That basically means it's recording, it's tracking that. And when you hit pause, it'll confirm that by the little slices in the timeline, and it'll actually be that output view. Alternatively, you can also hit on your keyboard 1, 2, and 3 to go back and forth between your different camera angles. It's important to know that if you're working on a full-size keyboard, the number pad does not operate the same way. So it has to be the main 1, 2, 3 on the top of the keyboard. 1, 2, 3. Pretty cool. I'm just going to hit pause or stop it for now. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can see all the little slices it made, represented by the different camera angles I switched to. Now let's say you wanted to redo it, right? Well, I don't want this, I want to choose different camera angles I messed up. Well, you go back with your playhead and just play it again. You play it again and you select the camera views you want. Essentially what it's doing is it's rewriting it. So it's rewriting the different camera angles represented by that red box around it, meaning it's re-recording. And I recommend going through your whole event or interview just to make sure that you got everything. And then you'll finalize it once you stop playing the video. So once you're happy with your cuts, your angles, it sounds good. What you can do now is essentially just copy and paste onto your main timeline. Say your main timeline had some A-roll, some B-roll, some photos. It could just go right in there, depending on the project you're doing. I also want to point out that A1 and A2. This is what we did before in our modify audio channels. You can see we have a left and right stereo sound for both of the different interviewees here, and that's all that did. So I don't have to really do anything with the audio. It sounds great. It's in instant stereo. That's the whole reason why we just did that one step. Again, if you're just doing one person with one audio, you can just do one channel and then left and right, and it'll do the same exact thing. It just sounds better on the back end and will give you the desired results, especially somebody listening, say like with headphones. All right. So let's say I just wanted this part of the interview and I have my different camera angles. Notice my program monitor on the right there switches for me. That's what I selected. And let's say I want it to stop like right here. I want it to stop like right there. That's all I want inside my main timeline. So the thing about multicam is that it does not make a slice for the audio right here. So it slices the different video because again, it's just a nest with different video clips in one, but it doesn't do the audio because again, we mix down, so we just have one audio source. So what we got to do is we have to essentially make a cut right here. The easiest thing to do is to bring your playhead to where it stops. You can also use the up and down arrow keys to go to the beginning and the end of designated slices. Once you have that right there, you can hit Control and K or Command and K. And what that's going to do is give you a nice slice. Oops, I don't think it worked for me there. Try that again. One more time. Control and K. There we go. You got to make sure that the audio track is selected. That's what it was. Control and K. There you go. So that's just going to make a slice, a razor slice right here. So Control and Kilo is basically just the slice tool, the razor without grabbing the razor itself. And it just makes the razor at the playhead point. And make sure that the audio is selected so it actually slices this. And then from here, what I'm going to do is just copy all of this. So you can just do a copy and paste. Control C, main timeline. Put your playhead where you want it. Control and V. And it's going to put all of that beautiful multicam right on your main timeline, and it'll all be on that output. So you can see it right there. Now essentially what I just did was I just toggled multicam view off. Multicam view on, multicam view off. So we're back to our normal program monitor, which is going to be the default output. Just going to close up Essential Sound. No idea why that opened up. just fit this to screen. There we go. So I'm going to go back into our multicam interview sequence here. There's one more option I want to show you inside of here. Say that you are happy with everything. You have no more camera angles to select. Everything looks good. You can actually flatten this. So essentially what it does is it makes a raster composite out of it, so you can't do the multicam anymore. This has some applications, say it's running very slow, running like lagging out, essentially. Allows you basically to just flatten it. If you select your interview, I just hit Control and A, and if you right click, there's multi-camera in the middle. You can flatten. When you flatten it, essentially what this does is it just basically takes that green nest and makes it all blue by default, which represents it's just a single video. Single video, there's no 3 cameras in there. That takes that nest and basically just makes it one flat video. I particularly don't use this because I like to be able to go back and change, say, like my angles if I need to. So I'm going to Control Z that. There we go. So many options to do this, but essentially this gives you that power to essentially select any camera angle at any point in time when you're doing your editing. And that's pretty much it. Very simple on how to use multicam, and you can do up to 4 cameras, you could do 3 cameras, you can do 2 cameras, depending on what you're recording. Just make sure that when you synchronize via the audio and mix down. This way it'll keep it nice and synced. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please, if you have any questions or if you have comments, leave them down below, and I will get to you as soon as possible. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a great one.